Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. With the release of Age of Triumph, we got a batch of new dead ghosts strewn about all of the destinations. 11 to be exact. 10 of those are ghost fragment cards, which give us a peek into Destiny's lore. Combine that with the very epilogue-esque nature of some of these cards, I believe that these cards have been released to begin to set up the characters and events of Destiny 2. And it seems I'm not alone. Community forums including Reddit, NeoGAF, and even the Bungie forums themselves are riddled with theories and speculation about what this new batch of cards might be implying about the story and events of Destiny 2. So in this video I want to take a closer look at these new cards and see if we can piece it all together. Now, before we get into it, I put together a video last week showing the locations of all of these new dead ghosts, so hit the eye in the upper right hand corner or click the link in the description to watch that video. A good majority of them are in Crucible private matches maps, like we've seen before. However, they are in maps that already have ghosts in them, almost as if they ran out of places to put them. Now, things start to really feel a little off when we inspect the contents of this Grimoire. The focus of these cards seem to be character and plot development, and I believe that they're specifically placed to provide some leading context into the events of the next game. So if we believe this to be true, let's dig into how this could all come together. And as such, I want to provide a maybe sorta spoiler warning as we will be exploring possible events and story elements from Destiny 2. So click away if you plan on jumping into D2 blind. Also, as a disclaimer, I will be the first to admit that I'm not super well educated on this Grimoire, so if I miss any important beats, please share them with me in the comments below. Anyways, let's start with the Grimoire cards for Cayde 6, Lord Shaxx, and Lord Shaxx 2. The cards are very playful and lighthearted and give you a peek inside the characters' personalities. Also, it looks like they want to further develop the relationship between Cayde 6 and Lord Shaxx. Cayde 6, of course, will still be the Hunter Vanguard, as he is the prominent character in the trailers, and we already know that Shaxx is still around as we can see him in the background of Zavala's camp in the trailer. Now, I still believe that Crucible will work very similarly to the way it does now, with Shaxx as the Crucible mentor, but perhaps he will play a deeper role in the overall story. With how successful quests were starting with the Taken King, it's possible that we will be getting more dynamic and content-rich quests this time around. They've had their chance to develop everything from the ground up, as opposed to it being shoehorned into the existing game's template. And if that ends up being true, I hope we get some good, deep PvE quests from Shaxx, maybe exploring more of the Crucible and why it's so important to the Destiny universe. At the very least, we should get some interesting exchanges between Cayde and Shaxx, hopefully in-game this time around. Moving on to the next batch of cards, we have the Last Word 5, Legend Rezyl Azzir the Triumphant Fall, and the Shadows of Yor. These cards are all the last in their previous line of cards, chronicling the story of Shin Malphur and Rezyl Azzir, and his descent into becoming Dredgen Yor. These series of cards are definitely some of the most interesting, so I highly recommend checking them out. A lot of attention has been given to the Thorn hand cannon and its characters surrounding it in the Grimoire, and it seems like its effects on the story of Destiny may be getting more and more important. But what can these cards mean for Destiny 2? Well, in the Shadows of Yor Grimoire card specifically, we learn about the cult called Shadows of Yor, a group that has been all but consumed by the darkness, corrupted by the powers of Thorn. At this point, I think it's inevitable that we'll run into them sooner or later. In the official synopsis for Destiny 2, we're told that you will venture into mysterious, unexplored worlds of our solar system to discover an arsenal of weapons and devastating new combat abilities. To defeat the Red Legion and confront Gaul, you must reunite humanity's scattered heroes, stand together, and fight back to reclaim our home. So it's entirely possible that we will need to venture out and discover the Shadows of Yor cult, and perhaps even learn how to harness their power as a part of our new abilities arsenal. This would be very similar to the theory out there about how we may perhaps even get the opportunity to explore Lady Aphrodite's group of non-military guardians. The Lady Aphrodite Grimoire card states the Vanguard are also intrigued by Aphrodite's accounts of a non-military guardian community in the Deep System. But Aphrodite, though happy to talk about the group's pacifist philosophies, refuses to disclose the settlement's location at present.
You must be the one Saladin spoke of. My name's Aphrodite. I served with the Iron Lords a long time ago, and I have returned to serve again.
So who knows, we might end up finally learning the location of Aphrodite's group and learn some of their abilities to help us overcome the Red Legion. All of this makes it sound like the majority of Destiny 2's story will entail exploring the system to collect all of the new subclasses and abilities, and then perhaps the campaign's climax will be our return to Earth to face the Red Legion and Gaul, not unlike Mass Effect 2, where we spent the majority of the campaign gathering members of our party to become strong enough to face the final big bad in that game. And if it ends up being the case, I would be in heaven, as Mass Effect 2 is still my favorite game in the series, mostly because it was able to allow for a much deeper exploration of the game's lore. This will sure to please fans of lore, but also allow for a much more dynamic and free campaign structure, allowing you to face the Red Legion whenever you felt you are ready. Then perhaps afterwards you could return to the rest of the ability gathering quests, helping to blur the lines between campaign and endgame, which I think Destiny 2 desperately needs. Next we have the cards for Fallen 6 and the Reef 4. Now these cards are very interesting as they are the first cards that are obviously set after the events of Rise of Iron, and they're also clearly setting up plot points for Destiny 2 and beyond. In the card for Fallen 6, we learn that the Fallen have abandoned Earth and have retreated to an unknown location. They have even gone as far as burning their house banners, possibly to gather their efforts under a single unified house. That house seems to be the House of Kings, as hinted at in the Reef 4 card. In that card, Prince Uldren is on a quest to find the Fallen. He has been jumping around the system trying to hunt them down. He finally finds them and allows himself to be captured. The card ends with him seemingly joining the House of Kings, possibly as their Kel, not unlike Prince Uldren's sister, Queen Marasov, and her role as the Kel of the House of Wolves. And as we learned in that expansion, that arrangement ended up not working out so well, with the house betraying the Queen and the Reef. However, things may go differently now with an entire race of the Fallen under their command, and perhaps united under a common goal, denying the Cabal their plans to destroy the Traveler. It's clear now that the Queen and Prince Uldren will be playing a large part in Destiny 2, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. And finally, we have Ghost Fragment Eris Morn. The card starts with Eris in the Tower Infirmary, visiting an injured Guardian. The card describes the Guardian as having been fused with the Vex, possibly referring to the ornaments for the new Vault of Glass armor, which gives your Guardians Vex limbs. Eris even sees the Guardian's ghost having been affected. Eris states that she wished she could spend one last conversation with her friend, implying the figure on the bed is someone important to her, or possibly even a representation of us. She states how her fire team has finally been avenged, and now she must leave the tower, the city, and Earth. She senses the enduring darkness that is the Hive, and needs to go on a journey to discover how to defeat them once and for all. Essentially, this card answers where Eris is at the start of Destiny 2, but where has she gone exactly? And will we be tasked to aid her in her journey some point in the future, once we perhaps ward off the Red Legion and reclaim the city? Remember that we also have the Destiny 2 major expansion, which will likely be planned for fall 2018. It will be furthering the plot yet again, just like the Taken King did for Destiny 1. So does this mean that we will be getting another Hive-themed major expansion? Well, honestly, after fighting a ton of Cabal, Vex, and maybe the entire remaining forces of the Fallen, a little Hive doesn't sound so bad. So, will we be jumping from planet to planet, attaining abilities from the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark? All of course while rescuing the heroes of lore and exploring the most hidden secrets of our system, only to head back home, restore our strength before facing an even greater Hive threat than Oryx. It all sounds pretty epic. Either way, I just hope it all happens in-game. Do you think the Grimoire is giving us hints into Destiny 2's story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more Destiny content. And I will see you all next time. Earlier this week, Bungie reminded us that there is only 1 month between now and the Destiny 2 gameplay premiere livestream. This is going to be the next time we hear anything about Destiny 2, and also it will be where we will get our first glimpse into what the game looks and plays like.